After yours is working, yeah. Well, who else? Go with that. After yours is working, yeah. Well, who else? Go with that. All right, so after yours is working, yeah. Coming back, let me have a who else? Go with that. All right, so after yours is working, coming back, candidates, let me have a who else? Go with that. So after yours is working, coming back, candidates, let me have a who else? Go with that. So after yours is working, coming back, candidates, let me have a who else? Go with that. So after yours is working, coming back, candidates, let me have a who else? Go with that.
Okay, so Q2 ends the 23rd next week. So right now it's like the students are all taking midterms, so it's kind of stressful. And then Regents Week is next week, so that most of the students don't have to come in, but the teachers still will be. So yeah, there's some Regents tests on the Regents Week. That's it.
So for Senate, we have Snowball Committee meeting coming up. That's going to be on Thursday from after school, 3:15 to 4:30, and we will also make posters for the Snowball dance in preparation for that.
So I actually have a message from Mr. Fitz that he asked me to send because I go to the PTA council meetings and Senate is in great correspondence with the PTSA and the PTA. So he asked me to read, the Shen PTA Council, proudly representing 12 outstanding and dedicated school PTAs, is extremely proud to collaborate with the Shen School District, administrators, teachers, and especially the Shen Board of Education. It was an honor with pleasure for PTA Council to be a small part of the recent community conversations with Superintendent Dr. Cecily Wilson-Turner this past Saturday. We applaud the unyielding kindness and goodwill of those attending, including Dr. Wilson-Turner, board members Carla Deanna and Mary Colleen, Gowanna Principal Robin, and the incomparable Barbara Salaker. Best regards always, Shen PTA Council. So, he just asked me to share that, but with Senate news currently, we have a field trip on January 7th, which we will be taking a trip to the Albany Capitol, and this is where we will be lobbying. The Shen SFA Senate has been lobbying for the past 3 years, I think now, for free and reduced meals, which is a project that we've taken on. And while we have free and reduced meals this current year, it was only in the budget for one consecutive year, so now we have to go back and we have to ask them to allocate the money aside again for free meals again. We also have a date for our PTSA. You guys have heard me talk about this mental health day a lot. Our date is May 29th for this. It will be inside instead of outside because outside there's a lot of sports events going on. But that is our current date. We don't have much more information other than that. But that is practically it. That's all.
Good stuff, Maddie. Thank you.
You know, in May is also Tasago's Wellness Day. So I just don't know, I don't think they've decided on a day, but I'll pass that on to them so that, it's important.
We know this is public session, so we would have public comments. Is there anybody here that wanted to come up from the public to make a comment? None? I do have, I'm gonna read that, yep. We do have something that came in, that actually came as an email to the board, previously has been shared with the superintendent as well. This is from Terrence Koulianos, yes. I don't have the address here, Vanessa, but I'm sure we can get it. Dear members of the Shenendehowa Board of Education, I'm a resident within the Shenendehowa Central School District, writing to respectfully request that the Board of Education consider adopting a resolution to participate in the property tax exemption authorized under New York Senate Bill S1183. This state law allows school districts to opt in to a full property tax exemption for veterans who are 100% service-connected disabled, applicable to assessment rolls prepared on or after January 2nd, 2026. While adoption is discretionary, participation would provide meaningful support to disabled veterans living within the district. I respectfully ask that the board place this item on an upcoming meeting agenda for discussion and potential action, allowing for transparency and public input. I believe this exemption aligns with the district's values of community support and civic responsibility. Thank you for your time and consideration. I appreciate the board's service to our community and would welcome the opportunity to attend or speak during a meeting if the matter is discussed. Sincerely, Terrence Koulianos. And I think we're got that. So we will have follow-up, Mr. Koulianos. Okay. Anybody else? Seeing none, moving on with the board of superintendent's reports. Dr. Wilson Turner.
So I'm going to combine my comments with Happy New Year first. I have to remember that. We haven't been all together yet. But really with the legislative priorities, because that's really been the focus since the return back to school district for us. On Friday, BOCES held their legislative breakfast where some of our local representatives came out and listened to the legislative priorities of the 24, is what we call ourselves, the 24 superintendents of the region, very similar to what I'll present in just a little bit in terms of what our priorities are specifically for Shen, but it is a great opportunity for us to, before session gets up and running and started, to really put out what's important to us as school districts in terms of the legislative support that we would need from our local representatives. So a very well-attended event, both on the part of the superintendent and our representatives. And really brought forth some big issues like I'll talk about in a moment, EV buses, attendance, student attendance was a big one, and looking at what supports they can put in place for that, and of course just the general awareness of what is on the horizon fiscally for us in New York State and how that could potentially impact school funding. So again, a very positive event in that way. Governor had her State of the State today, but prior to that, she was putting out breadcrumbs is what I'd like to call them, of what she was going to really talk about in the State of the State. And the one that I think I got most excited about and put in our Friday Bulletin for Communication is the idea around universal pre-kindergarten and potentially what it means for school districts like ours who receive funding but aren't able to maximize that funding because of the current PPA, per pupil allocation that we are allowed to pay our providers. And with what is proposed, we don't have details yet, but with what is proposed, we could see per pupil allocations almost double, which looks like what is available in other districts, but not currently available to us. The time frame for that is yet to be determined, but we look forward to that potentially positive impact coming forward in the State of the State. And so those are my comments, and then I'm just going to run right into the legislative priorities. So each year, we produce a one-page document. It's actually front to back, with legislative priorities that we then go out and share with our individual representatives. And so you should have all received an email from Vanessa inviting you to participate in this year's one-to-one sessions with our local representatives to be able to come and talk specifically about the needs of Shenendehowa and how they can help advocate and support in our interests. And so this is the document that we will bring with us, that we will share with them in advance and use as key talking points to, again, articulate what our priorities are and why they are that. What is nice is these priorities haven't shifted dramatically, they continue to evolve. As some of our priorities get taken and inputted into legislation and begin to be resolved, and as we find other ways and other suggestions that may help legislators advocate on our behalf. I'm gonna turn, sorry. So zero emission buses, electric buses, is something that we've been very clear that we are working again regionally to make sure that we are able to make sure this can happen. We've seen things that we put in our own capital project to make sure that we can make this happen by the time it is required, which is 2035. And by starting that implementation process slow and steady, as we tend to do here at Shenendehowa, we've been able to also identify what the challenges are in trying to meet that mandate. And it's allowed us to bring concrete data forward to our legislators and to the New York State Education Department as to the cost challenges that this produces, the infrastructure challenges that this produces, even though we haven't stopped our efforts to continue to comply with this mandate. Recently, a waiver was introduced that will allow districts a 2-year waiver in when they have to begin purchasing, or the 2-year waiver where they're allowed to continue purchasing gas buses. However, the deadline for 2035 has not moved. And it means a significant financial investment for districts in terms of infrastructure and cost for buses. So it is something that we'll continue to bring forward to our legislators. Our next one is UPK funding, which I just spoke a little bit. Yeah?
Can I just go back to electric buses?
Absolutely.
So wasn't it 2027 that all purchases had to be electric buses?
And that's what the waiver is for.
The waiver is for just
The
2027?
waiver will give you 2 years.
Got it, okay,
That's correct.
thank you.
So UPK funding is exactly what is proposed currently right now by the governor, and that is to get to the $10,000 per pupil allocation level that matches the state-funded universal pre-K per pupil allocation. And so this is a great one to continue to reinforce for our local representatives to support as the governor tries to move that forward as well. So the next section is really about removing barriers around employee shortages. So it is no surprise to all of you that bus driver shortages remains at the top of our list. And having our interim director, Al Karam, back with us has provided us with a wealth of historical and contextual information to shape this priority into one of the pathways that we could look at supporting some short-term solutions for increasing bus drivers coming to the table is the length the training takes. And so we will talk to our legislators about the possibility of reforming and creating a school bus driver specific training as opposed to the general training that they receive that also truck drivers and all other large vehicle operators receive. And as a result, the training is longer because it includes components that aren't necessarily informative for the role of a school bus driver. It may also help us retain some of our bus drivers because that license that they get to be a bus driver also allows them to go out and become a city bus driver or a truck driver. And so it does, can aid in turnover, right, as greater opportunities become available. So we really want to look at opportunities to get our drivers trained more quickly and so that we're able to bring more people on board. Another one is teacher certification and really looking at the pathways by which one can become certified. This really focuses on finding people who are coming with job-related experience into our classrooms. So you may automatically think of career and technical education, but we also think of science fields. Some of our teachers and administrators have come directly out of labs into the classrooms, and if we make certification pathways easier, we'll be able to get some of those people who have experience actually doing the work coming in and becoming teachers for us. There are a lot of steps that you take to become certified, and there are some pathways that exist that take into account your experience, but there are still coursework and exams and things that slow down that process again for allowing us to get some of those experienced people into our classroom. So we'll continue to advocate for ways to create different certification pathways. Civil service is a very extensive process that Ms. Galeha could speak to better than I could at this point in time. But one of the things that has happened since COVID is there's been an initiative called New York's Helps, which has allowed the civil service process to move more quickly to get qualified people into much needed vacant positions. but it only applies to certain positions and for this period of time. And so we're going to continue to advocate for the expansion of New York Health where it is sense-making, for us to be able to continue to identify qualified people, because in this time, exams aren't being offered as frequently as they once were. Therefore, lists that we rely upon become exhausted very quickly, and so this continues to expand the pool of people that we have to hire for some key positions in civil service. And this one I kept on, even though this exemption went through last year, and that was the continued retiree earning exemptions. This is particularly important. It gives a 2-year waiver for what is very arduous process to get a waiver if you have retired recently. Up until a certain age, you can only earn a certain amount of money, and prior to this waiver, you had to document that this position was unable to be filled otherwise than using a retiree. So the continuation of this waiver beyond this 2 years that is happening, we want to both say thank you to our legislators for making sure that that waiver happened, and to encourage them to continue it because it's had a tremendous impact. One of the factors in this paragraph indicates that 100% of our administrative retirees over the last few years at Shenendehowa have in fact been retired administrators. And as we continue to see significant numbers of people retire just to the age of people in education at this point in time, this waiver will continue to be a need to support us hiring in a timely fashion. So you can see we have significant advocacy around ways that make sure that we're able to remain fully staffed and able to run the district in an efficient and effective manner. And then, keep trying to scroll. And then we always provide some summary data, just really to tell the story of how we are, even though we are asking for things, we are asking for things to continue the really important work that we do in a very fiscally responsible way. And so this data really shows, how we have been responsible in our budget increases, how our state aid has shifted over time, and how our tax cap and levy we stay within to ensure that we are being responsible to our voters. And I wasn't done, Canva. It wants me to be done. How we manage all of the resources that we have so that we're not requesting additional funds for the sake of requesting additional funds. We're requesting it so that we can continue to sustain the quality of program at the level that our community expects it and in a fiscally responsible way. And then we also include our 5-year average college attendance and our graduation rate to show the impact of the fact that we are able to put forward such a robust budget and the impact on our school community. And so again, this is the document that we would share moving forward with our legislative representatives as we advocate on behalf of the needs of our school district.
Is the 5-year average something new? I don't recall seeing that before.
No, that's always been there.
It has always been there, okay.
Yep.
The 5-year average, it's those that are still in college, correct? So what is it exactly?
So 5-year average college attendance, so when kids are exiting, that's the number that we use.
That are going
that are gonna
into
go into
college.
yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Does that include trade schools?
Just college.
I think trade schools would be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, really informative. And I think it'd be, I think we'd see a trend.
You would?
Yeah, so,
Definitely.
thank you.
Moving the policies and first reading. Mrs. Carmen?
Good evening.
Right
Are we on? We're on. I think it's on. Comfy seat here. So tonight we have policies being presented for first reading that were reviewed at December policy review meeting. It seems like it was so long ago already. These policies that we are reviewing are related to personnel, human resources related, and most, if not all, just being updated to reflect our practices and clarify some language and ensure that we're being inclusive in our language as well. Any questions?
Anything that stands out?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll stop there. All right, oops, it's ready then. Moving into consent items, treasurer's report. Can I get a motion? Petra's first, sorry, you're too far away from me now. Petra's first. Colleen a second. Any comments on the report? All in favor? Motion passes. December 16th, seems so long ago now, meeting. Can I get a motion on the minutes? Petra's first. Can I get a second? Andrea, second. All in favor? Motion passes. All right. Now, Tree's sitting right there. Okay, we're gonna read the resolution. Action item number 1, business item. So I will read the resolution, and once I'm done, Patrice, come on up. You can actually sit and listen if you like. You won't be sworn in until the next meeting, but feel free. Okay, from our district clerk, to the Board of Education, whereas a vacancy has occurred on this Board of Education by reason of the resignation of Board Member Gusta Miller, effective October 21st, 2025, and whereas it is, should I be reading this or Kathy?
No, you can.
It's all right, right?
It's a
All right,
resolution.
I'm reading it, I'm like, where it is desirable that all seats on the Board of Education be filled, and whereas the board authorized by law to appoint a qualified candidate to the board to serve until the next annual vote/election, and whereas an appointment by the board will avoid the time and expense of holding a special election to fill a vacancy, and whereas Mrs. Patrice King is qualified pursuant to Education Law 2112 to serve as a member of the Board of Education in the school district. Now therefore it is resolved as follows by the Board of Education of the Shenendehowa Central School District. Patrice King is hereby appointed pursuant to Education Law 1709, subdivision 17, to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Board Member Gusta Miller. This appointment shall take effect immediately upon the filing by, is that her? Patrice King of his or her oath of office, and shall continue in effect until the next regular annual election held in the school district. Patrice, come on up. You know what this reminded me of? Like in elementary, we have to vote. Can I get a motion? I was gonna comment. Andrea's first. Petra second. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. You know what it reminded me of? Remember in highlights when they used to have the fill in the blanks? I don't know why nobody figured to fill in the blanks for me, because as I'm rolling along here, thank you, Petra, for being the fill in the blinker. All right. So like I said,
Thank you so much.
Patrice,
Thank you.
so you will be sworn in, no action, so you're just an active listener tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Where's my? I got it. Okay, consent treasures. All right, resolution. Here we go. Number 2, bids. Classroom and office supplies, custodial supplies, diesel fuel, and unleaded gasoline. These are all bid recommendations that have followed the rules of the road. So can I have a motion? Naomi's first. Mary Colleen is second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Motion passes. Contract renewal, ComSource, Duo 2-factor authentication. One of, I'm sure, Ray's favorites. We use this through IT for authentication processes for IT. Can I get a motion? Naomi's first, Andrea second. Any comments? All in favor? Motion passes.
Who was the first?
Andrew. Okay, number 4, NARIC purchase, IMS. There's always something on here. Obviously getting our best price for what we're getting through the BOCES pricing consortium. Can I get a motion? Naomi is first. Can I get a second? Petra? I can't see anybody. Petra's second. All in favor? Motion passes. Number 5, scholarships and local grant donations with gratitude. We do have a few on the docket tonight. Appreciate that. Can I get a motion? Mary Colleen is first. Can I get a second? Naomi is second. Any comments?
Thank you.
Yes?
The parents one, the Acadia Partners.
Yeah, that's nice.
All in favor? Motion passes. IPAC approval, updated proposed courses. Ms. McKenna, do you want to just come up and just, do you need to say anything, or we know what, it's pretty straightforward. We did talk about it last time. But you can just roll up if you want, in case there's any questions. All right, can I get a motion? Mary Colleen is first, is there a second? Naomi is second. Any comments for Ms. McKenna?
Did we talk about that?
We did talk about this the last time.
We
Oh,
just
I
said
saw
on
the
the agenda.
presentation.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
I missed it.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry, you left.
No, you're
Sorry.
fine, that's fine, it's my fault.
So just to be clear too, it's just the one where it's starred that will be, delayed. And we talked about that, so I had the same question too, so thank you, appreciate it. All in favor? Motion passes. And I didn't see Bree come up. You're doing
Bree's not
special
here
ed, okay,
tonight, but you have in front
special
of
ed, thank you.
Sorry, you have in front of you, recommendations for CSE, placement for students with disabilities for consideration.
Any comments? Can I get a motion? Petrus first, Andrea second. Any further comments? All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Thanks for coming. And Ms. Scalia?
Okay, good evening. You have staffing agenda in front of you tonight. No retirements to note. I would like to note that we are appointing our new director of facilities, Morris Vaughn. He was actually here earlier this evening.
I didn't get to meet him.
Yeah, he did get a chance to meet a lot of individuals, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to stay for the whole meeting.
Understood.
So, that is really the only thing to note on the agenda for this month.
I look forward to meeting him. All right,
Yeah, it's exciting.
yeah. Can I get a motion? All right, Colleen is first. Naomi is second. Any comments for Jenny? Okay, all in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Carmen comes up for the second reading.
And we have presented to all of you the second reading policies that were presented at the Board of Education meeting last month for first reading. The one thing I pointed out there in our previous meeting was the elopement. Again, just updating that one to reflect our current practices here and clarifying some of the language.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Can I get a motion? Andrea's first, Petra is second. All in favor? Motion passes. All right, and then moving on, do we have anybody from the public come up, comment again? I said, is there anything further? Okay, so we'll move, for the good of the order. So I'll stay quiet to begin, and is there anybody else that would like to make a comment?
I just wanna say that I went to the, capstone project this Sunday. That was a walkathon, for pediatric cancer. It was at High School West, and it was put on by 3, seniors for their capstone project, and it was fantastic and, I think impactful, and all of my daughters really enjoyed it, and we learned something, and I played basketball with my mom, which was a lot of fun. So I just want to say shout out to that. I think it's a great program, and I'm really grateful that Shen has it for offer. Thank you.
That's good stuff. Anybody else?
So, I'd like to say first, welcome, to Patrice to the table. I'm looking forward to working with you. I also want to thank the candidates that came out, also the candidates that initially threw their hat in the ring, because what it says about our community is that people are paying attention and watching, and they should be. They really should be. I really liked what one of the candidates had said about that, you know, it's really here, that a lot of things that are happening in the community, it goes back to education. We could do a lot of good right here, and so I think it speaks volumes for our community that we had so many candidates, so many people that care. I know it's very awkward to sit here in this packed room and to get questions that you're not prepared for, but you know, it's so important. This is a very, very important role. One of the things that I think is lost on many is that, yes, it is, you are giving of your time, but you're not, the typical volunteer, you're an elected official. Or you will be, hopefully, if you decide to run in May. Right now, you're an appointed official, but you're still, you're taking on an official office that carries with it a lot of responsibility. And we appreciate that you and your family are willing to make that leap. It's a lot of work, but it's certainly satisfying and truly worth it.
Anybody else? I just wanna say a few things. First of all, congratulations. Just echoing Naomi, I mean, nobody, it doesn't make anybody feel good to sit there in front of a fighting squad like that, I hear you. But congratulations, I know you'll do good stuff. And I always say, listen, learn, lead. So that's always my 3, and I'm sure you will do that. We're here to support you, each one of us, so just lean in. The other thing I did wanna say, because I didn't get a chance to in the beginning, we've all been transparent about the process with our superintendent search. The board continues to march forward. We met, what I will say at this point, we went through screening, with BOCES just last night, and we're continuing the process as the weeks go on. And where I can give updates, I certainly will. Again, our end game and our end goal is to announce our new superintendent in March of 2026, just a couple months away. So with that, it's been a long evening. It's been a lot of energy expounded tonight, and all for good cause. So I thank you all, and if nothing further, can I get a motion to adjourn? Naomi's first, Patrick second, all in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.